were all so furious that we were all stating in Twitter, we are never going to vote for one or the other. We are not going to sacrifice our values.
Hello and welcome to the conversation, Laura Ayerza, journalist, foreign service, cultural attaché at UNESCO in the 80s, and you're currently in Buenos Aires to vote during the general elections that took place on Sunday, the 22nd of October, to elect the president, vice president, members of the National Congress, and the governors of most provinces. Could you give us an overview of Sunday's elections, who the candidates were, and the results?
Hello, I'm very glad to be here talking to you. I am going to tell you what happened yesterday on the Sunday elections in Argentina. I came from Portugal to vote, and on top of that, to control the elections, like 3 different parties. And I was there in La Matanza, the worst possible area in the suburbs of Buenos Aires, in the province of Buenos Aires. And unfortunately, Sergio Massa, the official candidate from the actual government and Minister of Economy, won very unexpectedly, because with hyperinflation as we have at the moment, and all the corruption surrounded him, and all the stories that have appeared in the last month, nobody thought that the Argentinians were going to be so silly to vote for him. But apparently people here, they don't mind about corruption, about having this type of people in the government. At the end of the day, Cristina Kirchner won yesterday, because her candidate was the one that supported him financially for the campaign. And she doesn't want to say that. She's in the south of Argentina. She went there and she appeared in the election. But that is the real thing. Kirchnerism is not the end of it. Yesterday, Kirchnerism won.
Well,
so now, yes.
A few things. So Massa ended the night with 36.7% of the vote versus Milei at around 30%.
Yes.
So that means Patricia Bullrich is out for the second, and the runoff is Sergio Massa versus Milei. Sergio Massa being establishment, and with hyperinflation, as you rightly say, and corruption and other problems that Argentina has been facing, is surprising. But Milei is also a wild card, if ever there was. So how does this end up being between those two men?
Well, I think, including myself, yesterday night, we were all so furious that we were all stating in Twitter, we are never going to vote for one or the other. We are not going to sacrifice our values. But today, after calming down, we have to think in our country. If we really have a very small opportunity of getting out the whole thing of Kirchnerism and corruption, we have to think in the country and vote for Milei. I don't know. I don't like Milei. I don't agree with many of his policies that I think they are, not very serious about it. And but I think it's an option, a new option, a crazy option, which if he's surrounded with the good people, maybe this is not going to be as terrible as with Massa. So I think people are going to calm down, think about Argentina, and maybe they are going to vote for Milei, and Milei will win. But because now, today, the percentage of Massa, Milei, and Bullrich is smaller than what you were talking, because we have, till today, there are 17% that hasn't come out yet, and it's closer, the difference. So I think Milei has great chances in winning, but it has to agree with Juntos por el Cambio. It has to get the votes of Juntos por el Cambio. And there is another problem. In Juntos por el Cambio, there were two candidates in the primaries, were Bullrich and Rodríguez Larreta, and Bullrich won. But many of the people of Rodríguez Larreta and the Radical Party, we suspect that they all vote for Massa yesterday. So there was it's not confirmed, but it's a big suspicion. So it's all in the, it's very, very, very tricky, the whole thing. I think we need to calm down, think about it, and look for the better option that is Milei and not Massa. We need to get rid of populism, of Kirchnerism. But on the other hand, you are going to tell me that Milei is a populism of right, it's a right populism. Yes, maybe yes.
It's very interesting because it seems like Argentina has these long-standing political dynasties between Peronism and then Kirchnerism, Kirchner who seems to never leave. And you're surprised by Massa, who's the establishment and the Kirchner candidate. You're surprised by his getting through to the second round. Why is that surprise? Let's talk about that before talking about Milei's policies.
I think is because after, how can I say, 3 generations of people that they haven't been educated as we were, because the education came down in a horrible way, and 3 generations that they don't know what is working, that they have been subsidized all their lives, and they were born with this, and the only thought of getting through life without the subsidy, without being subsidized, that was impossible for them to think how I'm going to live. I will have to work. How is going to be possible? How are we going to pay the bus tickets that with a Massa is 50 pesos and with Milei is going to be 1,000? So I think all these things, and that it's much easier for them to live in a corrupt country, a narco country in a way, as is today Argentina, and they don't mind the corruption, and people are very corrupt here. There is a large percentage of very corrupt people.
Now, in terms of voter turnout, you mentioned earlier in our conversations privately that there was, a lot of blank votes or people not voting to show their discontent. Yeah. So what was voter turnout? And you being a controller at one of the locations, how did you see in terms of transparency the elections did in Argentina?
Well, I can talk for myself. In my table, in my school, Patricia Bullrich won in the worst possible area of Buenos Aires, which is Matanza. So we were all shocked at the end of the day seeing the results, because Massa was winning and winning and winning, and Bullrich was, losing all her votes. That was very strange. So then talking to other people that they were controllers in other places of the country, they were telling me, yes, we discovered they were fraud, and we couldn't do anything about it. So journalism are not talking about this. No one even mentioned the word fraud. So we will see. It's too early to talk, but something strange went on. And I'm sure also that many people paralyzed with Milei's craziness and vote for Massa just for Milei not to win in the first round. So the whole thing is tricky. So many people from Bullrich, I think they vote for Massa for Milei not to win in the first round because they were terrified of having a Donald Trump again in Buenos Aires. But I don't know. I don't know what is going to happen. I think we have to sit down, think about our country, and on the 18th of November, which is the second round, the ballotage, vote for Milei just to get rid of Kirchnerism in Argentina for once, and we'll see.
Okay, well, talking about Milei, one of his controversial but perhaps populist stances was to peg the currency to the dollar, which is quite interesting given the populist stance in regions like West Africa is quite the opposite, is to stop themselves, or that's what they're alleging, from being pegged to the French, old French franc, but certainly to the French currency as well. So how is this working in his also his policies generally? It's very different populism than that which we're used to, perhaps.
He embraces the liberal ideas, which I think they are great. We all agree. But then he called himself anarcho-capitalist. So it's, I think he wants to shock people, and shocking people is why he won so many followers on the young people. The younger people, they are extremely frustrated. They haven't known anything else than Kirchnerism. And Milei, with his personal frustration, I think got hold of these followers, younger followers, that they were excited with it. Madman with a motosierra.
Chainsaw.
I can't remember.
Yes, I saw
and they got excited with his language, his swearing, his shouting, and they all got exciting. And he got an enormous amount of followers. I don't know if he's going to be a populism, a right populism, or if he's going to really embrace the liberal ideas. Regarding the dollarization, there are different theories, different analysis about that, and Argentina hasn't got the dollars to do the dollarization. And he was expecting on having hyperinflation, that was the higher the dollar was in Argentina, the easiest was going to make the dollarization. I really don't know what is going to happen, but many economists are saying that that is not possible. The most sensible thing is to have bimonetarism, both currencies as we use now, dollar and pesos. And what can I say? It's sit and wait what is going to happen and how people are going to react, because people are really, really touched by the whole situation.
So let's talk about Argentina having joined the BRICS fairly recently.
Yes.
Let's talk about that and therefore the implications of this particular election. Because obviously the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, have added 6 new members recently, expanding the bloc and also trading, bypassing the dollar. And one of the 6 new members was Argentina. And so I was interested in understanding why Argentina is strategic for BRICS.
Well, Alberto Fernandez, which is useless, he joined the BRICS, and he aligns with Lula, with China. You know, this was his foreign policy against not against America, but you know, he took the left side of geopolitics. And what is going to do Sergio Massa? Sergio Massa, funny enough, he has a very good relationship with the White House through a man called Manzano, which used to be a minister and very close friend of him. He got closer to the White House, to the Biden circle.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to do what the Americans want. He's going to follow the way of America. I know that America is very worried with the Chinese base in Argentina, that Cristina Kirchner allowed the Chinese, and we don't know what she gave back to them, but there is a Chinese base in the south of Argentina. I know that Americans are worried about that. And I really think that Massa will follow America. And I really don't think he's that crazy to stop negotiating with Brazil, which is our best buyer and best partner, commercial partner, or China. And Milei said already that he's not going to have relationships, commercial relationships, state to state with China or Brazil, because they are left wings. So I don't think Massa is so silly enough to do that, but we'll see. It's unpredictable, the whole thing. But I think that is the way. He's going to follow America. He's a clever man, but we'll see.
So on the 18th of November, we've got the Argentinians will have a choice between establishment candidate Sergio Massa and radical libertarian economist Javier Milei. Any predictions, and what's the best outcome for Argentina?
Yesterday was unpredictable, the whole thing. Not one single journalist couldn't believe it, because it was totally against what everybody thought. So I think it's quite unpredictable, but I think that, you know, the whole, how do you say, economic, aparato económico, the whole thing is going to be on top of Sergio Massa, for him to win, and Cristina Kirchner not going to prison, all the investigations of corruption, they're going to, we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see how the justice works. If the justice are going to continue as they are today, investigating everything, taking people to court and to judgment, or if they are going to be calmer because the same party won. Or Milei, if Juntos por el Cambio, Patricia Bullrich and Macri's party aligns with Milei and help him with their votes, Milei can win. So it's unpredictable.
Which would be the best bet for Argentina?
I think for our country, it's better that Milei wins, even if I don't like him, because if he embraces the liberal ideas and he's surrounded by the right people, maybe Argentina can get rid of Kirchnerism and Massism. But I don't know.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Laura Ayerza, and good luck with the elections.
Pray, please. We need Argentina to be free of these people. We'll see how it goes.
Thank you.
Thank you.